In this video, we'll take a look at using the Kohera3D Spectrum module to isolate laser scan data and assign those isolations into various groups that can be exported or turned on and off from view. So we'll begin by going to the Project Explorer tab, click on the Scans folder, and let's add some scans to the project by clicking this icon here. And I will choose the subsample of every 2x2. Let's go ahead and drag and drop the scans folder into the scene window. Okay, so once that is done, the next step is to create a point group set. So let's right click on the scans folder, create point group set, and I'll just keep the default name. Next, we need to activate this, and we can do so by right clicking and choosing activate, or just drag and drop into the scene window. So next we'll create some groups. Go to edit. The first one we'll call floor. Make that green. Okay, add. Next I'll type in equipment. Let's make a group called piping. That one orange, add, and then click accept. So with all this data here, I don't need to work with all of this. So I just have an area that I'm interested in, and I've already created a volume by clicking a point. And there's tutorials on volumes here, but I already have one made. So let's go ahead and enable that volume. Okay, so to start assigning points to a group, let me switch to an orthographic view. And let's begin by removing this lower portion here, this floor. So the important thing is to understand the selection tools, which are located right here. And this is to select a group of points. And then now we can assign that to one of the groups that we created. And in this case, we'll assign that to the floor level. So I'm going to press Control A on my keyboard, select floor, pick, and now let's clear this selection. Okay, so now this can actually be turned off. And I have a bunch of other stuff here. I'm going to create one more group, and we'll just call that miscellaneous. And let's make that, let's go with yellow, add, accept. So what I'm going to do is switch this over to the polygon select and just start selecting areas in the scan data, different items that I don't really need to use. Items that I'm not interested in. So we can get those out of the way. All right, and this little. So when you're using the polygon to finish a selection, double click with the mouse. And if you make a mistake, hold down the Control key and double click, and that will deselect. So I'll press Control A. And let's add that to the miscellaneous group. Let's clear the selection. Switch back to the point tool. And you can just press P on the keyboard and it will toggle between those two. So the point tool allows us to click a point in that group, and then I'm going to press Control H to hide that. Now, if we want to bring that group back into view, Control T, and this will toggle over to the groups that we have hidden. And now I will hide those from this view, and then Control T to toggle back to the other view. So I'm going to click those and press Control H to hide once again. Next, let's look at this piece of equipment here. And I'm just going to switch over to the box select, make a selection. I guess we can go all the way over. And I'm going to, this time, hold down the Control key, then click to deselect. So I'm going to leave these items out and just take this piece here. And let's grab these items on the bottom. Let's look at just the points that we have selected. And let's deselect this here. And a couple of these miscellaneous points that I don't need. There's one right there. Switch back to all. Now I'll hit Control A on the keyboard. And let's click the equipment 01, pick, clear the selection. I'm going to press P on the keyboard to toggle this back to the point tool. And now I'm going to press Control H to hide that. And let's grab this other stuff here. And this is just using the box select. There's also the ellipse and a lasso tool for making your selections. And let's assign that to the miscellaneous group. And I will now clear the selection and press P on my keyboard to toggle back. Now, if you have the subscription, you can now save your work. I'm going to click on New Project, Save As, and I'll just call this my project. We'll save that. Next, we're being asked where to save our point group set, and I'll just go ahead and save that right here. Okay, project was saved. So now let's look at isolating some of this piping. And there's a few different things we can do. For example, I can click on a point here, move over to the Volume Tools panel, and use the Quick. So set to my selected point, and then apply. And that can help me just grab things that I'm interested in. So I'm going to use the Polygon tool. And then deselect this. So again, hold down Control and double click to deselect those points. And the same with this light here that I don't need. So Control, double click to deselect. Let's go back to the box volume that we had and apply that. Switch back to the point tool. Click a point, press C to center. And this time, let's look at using the ellipse tool right here to select these portions of piping. Let's just view the selected points only. And I'm going to switch to the polygon tool and deselect this area here. And deselect these points. So I'm just clicking, and then when I'm ready to deselect, I hold the Control key on the keyboard, and then using the left button on the mouse, I double click. Just a little piece here we may want. So when I select this, I'm also going to be selecting the points behind it. So let's deselect those. All right, and we can finish this up later, but for this tutorial, just trying to show how to select items in the scan data and assign them to the point groups. So again, I'll press Control A, and we'll add this to our piping group. Let's clear the selection, switch back to the point tool, and I'm going to press Control R to reveal all. So now we can see everything here. So with the subscription, we can now export data to use in other programs. So for example, this piece of equipment here, I'll go ahead and select it and then press Control 1. That selects everything in that group. And then I can hit Alt E to bring up the batch point cloud export window and export that data in a variety of different file types.